Hello and welcome, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Vines from the Stars. When we last left, our wondrous Warforged Hex had just thrown an astral elf overboard from the Star Galleon that he and his compatriots were aboard. Our Roman Legionnaire Cyrus, our Elf Ranger Bear Silver, our Furbolg Druid Thulk, Nightshade, the Tabaxi Artificer, and, of course, our Halfling Rogue. We're just finishing up with combat, and we're now drifting through space aboard the vessel once again. As the ship began to get repairs by its crew, on our way to the Rocket Vale, we enter an asteroid field, and a dark shape begins to loom over us. The shape of a Mind Flayer Nautiloid ship. At first, we were kind of spooked and like, holy crap, we're about to get horribly murdered by Mind Flayers. But the DM then explains to us that the vessel is derelict looking, massive holes throughout the entire ship. The living vessel is severely injured, and it doesn't appear to be manned at the time. We see a single shadow that seems to flit back and forth to parts of the lights that we have. Now, as a player, I'm going to say I was not interested in wanting to go aboard this thing. I kind of already was like, no. Because when it comes to anything Mind Flayer-ish, it's usually a good idea to not go aboard it. Give me 1 second, I gotta get some juice of energy here. There we go, that's better. Compliments our friends Dubby. Our channel partners, they make some delicious energy drinks. Jitterless, crashless energy that, by the way, is awesome. This is their new Cherry Limeade, which is with the Mark Clan. Honestly, usually I'm not a fan of Cherry Limeade because it can get a bit tiresome and a little bit too bitter. But W has once again found a way to make things taste delicious. I don't know what max level flavor wizards they have over there, but they do their job, so hey. Anyway, back to the Nautiloid. Ignore my phone going off here. The shadow of the Nautiloid comes over our space galleon, and the pirate captain that we're going with decides to ask if we want to try and see if we can salvage something on the ship. After all, there might be some decent loot on that derelict. As I said before, I'm kind of reticent about it. I'm like, I don't want to touch this thing. I know what's on these things, being a player. I mean, it's a little bit of meta on my part, but the rest of my players are like, yeah, no, let's go ahead and let's check this thing out. So, reluctantly, my character and I basically just, okay, fine, let's go on this weird ship. So, as soon, of course, as we go on board the vessel, my suspicions and my this is a bad idea gets validated as we are immediately met with wisdom checks and will saves. More than half the party gets mind controlled and zombified. I managed to succeed my check, so the way the DM kind of described it is that some horrible tentacle thing tried to interface with your brain, but couldn't figure out the mechanics because it's not familiar with robo brains. Apparently, my positronic robot brain is just too advanced for its knowledge. Suck it, caveman tentacle face. Anywho, we end up getting spoken through our now mind control companions. This creature claims that it's been waiting for rescue and would like for us to come down to the bowels of the ship to meet, to talk terms, in order for its rescue and the salvage of what is left of the ship. Not wanting to leave the rest of our companions behind, we decide to, well, follow them into the bowels of the vessel. As we go down, we see more wreckage and combat signs as weapons like the ballistas that were once aboard are totally smashed into pieces. Massive holes leading off into space, and what looks like pulsating egg-like things all across the ship. As we enter deeper, we find ourselves attacked by a pair of worm-like monsters that tend to then ignore our more mind-controlled companions, but come after me and those who have not been mind-controlled. It's kind of a rough fight, honestly. We rolled pretty badly, but we got pretty banged up just with the two of them. Thankfully, I healed up a little bit because I had hexed one of the worm things and got a little bit of a health bonus, but it didn't help that the DM was constantly spamming their psychic screech attack, which did a lot of ouch. Let's put it that way. We kind of continue to make our way through the vessel. We make it to one point where we find more corpses of mind flayers. The decapitated captain of the vessel himself sitting in what remained of his chair. Hex and the ranger managed to find some extra goodies. Bear Silver finds a stone of reanimate dead, while Hex finds a ring and a scroll with unknown spell on it. We make our way further into the ship, and any hopes, of course, of any chance of possibly salvaging this thing and sailing it ourselves are dashed when we reach to the helm where it's been completely and utterly destroyed. We find out from our host, if you will, that the Githyanki did quite the number on this ship, as the Gith are wont to. We make our way deeper into the bowels of the vessel. Before we can reach into another room, we find ourselves at an impasse. Two doors. One which has been haphazardly stitched together with wood, rope, and all kinds of things, and the other which is simply just quote-unquote locked. Well, as locked as a door made of flesh could possibly be. Not wanting to go through the haphazardly sewn up together door, Hex proceeds to hack literally at the other door, cutting it asunder with his sword, covering himself in blood, ooze, and, well, gore as he makes his way through it. On the other side, they find what seems to be containment, or cages and various things for containing animals and humanoids. They find a pile of corpses on the floor. Examining the corpses, we kind of figure out that they've been gnawed on something. Something with very sharp teeth and not a lot of other things involved. One of the corpses, a Mind Flayer corpse, has a +1 breastplate. Hex decides to grab that and swap out his current breastplate with it by integrating the +1 back into his body. Moving further into the Nautiloid, we find a storage room. There are some more monsters, and we find quite a bit more food. Some snacks for Mind Flayers, and maybe some food for some thralls, but nothing much. On the corpses, we also did find a few coins. About 200 silver and 10 copper. and about 5 gold, I think. We move on deeper and deeper into the Nautilus until finally we're face to face with our host. At his side, a Squoggoth, a weird mind flayer ape thing. He greets us and rather than trying to negotiate a way out, has instead trapped us. The door closes behind us and he proceeds to say, "Unfortunately, it is time for the Squoggoth to feed, as he intends to set his pet upon us." At the sound of this betrayal, Hex uses intimidation by screeching in absolute binary, rolling pretty high and managing to scare off the Squoggoth, the 2 worm things that were by his side, but leaving the half-formed mind flayer worm thing. We managed to do enough damage, thanks to the druid and everyone else, to break the concentration check, freeing the rest of our party and thereby allowing us to take care of the half-formed mind flayer, the Squoggoth, and his 2 worm buddies. I should note at this point, too, that prior to this, we had kind of forgotten that we were supposed to get some magic items at level 5, like 1 uncommon, 1 common. So, we can, because of that, oh, hello. Someone decides he wants to say hello to his fans. Meow. Hi, well, fans. I'm Kitty. Meow. Meow. Yeah. Anywho. We find that we need a way out. And it seems like at first there's not really a way out of this ship. Meow. With some investigation rolls, we managed to figure out that there's a hidden flap in the bottom of the floor. Going down the flap, we find ourselves in a chamber filled with yellow pus and all kinds of nastiness, as you can imagine. Hex, my character manages to find a lever and pull it. The door begins to open, but there's also another problem. More and more fluid starts pouring in, and we're hearing even more noises of more worm monsters coming. Rather than being drowned in who knows what, surrounded by worm monsters, the party and Hex decide to push forward and through the door as hard as they could, pushing the door open and making their way as it closes right behind them. Behind them, they can hear the horrible worm monsters being drowned in all manner of filth. And we find ourselves a ladder up to the top of the shell of the Nautiloid. With some athletics checks and some acrobatics, we managed to climb ourselves all the way back to the top. There, Hex manages to pop open what seems like a maintenance hatch, with Bear Silver checking to see where it goes, which leads right back up to the main deck of the ship that we had boarded on. Our party, now pretty battered, beaten, make their way back to the space galleon, only to find more shadows now looming over them. Astral Elf Imperial spider ships. A bunch of them. They begin to attack the space galleon as we start to try and make our way out. Surrounded by a massive fleet, there seems to be no hope. As 2 Astral Elf riders land on our deck, and fights break out across the ship. A wounded party now faces 2 Astral Elf riders head on. And that is where I leave you guys today. We'll see what happens later on, and I think it's going to be quite hilarious for you guys. So, thanks for watching this little diary, and I hope you guys enjoy it and are having fun with it. Please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. And of course, if you really want to help support the channel, use code INF10 and you can get 10% off of Dubby at Dubby.gg. They're a really good brand. I definitely do recommend. Look, I'm going to be 100% with you. If I didn't believe in this product, I would not shill for it, okay? And that's just how I'm saying. Like, I drink this stuff all the time. It's really good. It has a lot of energy. It does exactly what it says. And don't worry about allergies. It doesn't have any artificial colors in it. Actually, it doesn't even have color at all. But it is 100% what they say it is. It's got no fillers, no nothing, no nastiness. Honestly, if I don't have my Dubby, I don't really feel like myself. And I feel kind of always just drained and upset. And like I said, this stuff has been amazing. Unlike Monster or any other energy drink that I've had, I've never had a bad flavor of Dubby. So, check it out. And, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I just can't give this stuff enough of a recommendation. I mean, I'm ADHD. It helps calm me down, helps keep me focused at my work. So definitely a good recommendation from me, and it's sugar-free. So if you're diabetic, you can still drink this stuff. So check it out. And that reminds me, they just came out with a can variant. Unfortunately, no discount codes for that yet, okay? It's $32 for 12-ounce cans, 12 of them. But, I mean, when you're talking about energy drinks, it's kind of the norm, honestly. But they are, however, first come, first serve, because it's a small company. They are not big energy. They're not a massive business. They started about 2 years ago, so they're still kind of building themselves up. But feel free to check them out, please, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.